Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Social Z podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Calvin Smith. I am back in beautiful Destin, Florida. It's nice and sunny. I've been on my RV trip, but I'm back now. I'm glad to be back in the office, and I'm so excited to talk to someone who is in so much better shape and more disciplined in fitness than I am. Kerry, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. I wouldn't say that, but I just love what I do. So it's just this side effect.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're excited to hear your story. To kick us off, Kerry, why don't you give us your name, your location, and the name of the business that you own?
Well, I'm also residing in sunny Florida, and it is beautiful, and absolutely understand the reason why so many people are moving to our state. So,
Sure, sure.
yeah, I live in Melbourne, Florida. I live in Satellite Beach, which is on a barrier island. So my life right now is beautiful, and that's where I own my business. I am a franchise owner of Mayweather Boxing and Fitness. And yeah, it's one of four that I will have. So Florida is where I'm from. Kerry Hamilton Ganaway is my name.
Awesome. Thanks, Kerry. And tell us a little bit about your Mayweather Fitness franchise. How long have you been in business? And you mentioned you're going to have four locations, but talk us through where you're at so far on that journey.
So I am opened with my first studio. It opened February 18th. I have just in lease negotiations, LOI, with my second location, which will be in a Nona area of Orlando, which is a big medical area in that region. I have a couple more after that, I think in the Waterford Lakes and downtown area. So I'm excited about that. It's a booming city. Everything in Florida right now is. So it's a really great time. Coming from 2 years ago, opening a boutique fitness franchise was probably a bit scary. But I'm a huge proponent of health and wellness, and I feel like we're on the front line of the medical industry, and we just are now getting recognized as keeping people healthy on the front lines prior to, and not on the backside where the doctors come in, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And Kerry, this isn't your first sort of foray into business or obviously into the fitness space. Give us a little bit of background on your journey to becoming a franchise owner, but also your background just in fitness in general.
Well, this is going to age me, but my first experience teaching was when I was 17 at a place called Let's Get Physical in Gainesville, Florida, where I'm born and raised. And if anybody who is in my age bracket understands what Let's Get Physical is, it was the first gym. It was Olivia Newton-John, just kind of this big 1980s thing. So I did start in the 80s. I literally wore leg warmers and high top sneakers, the epitome of fitness. So I started young. Originally a music major that just kind of jumped into working at a gym as part-time while I was working on my scholarship, my major. And I got like snagged by that. I really loved the gym space. I was very lucky to be around certain people who actually started why gyms were here, right? Like MedX equipment and Nautilus equipment actually was developed in Ocala, Florida. And I got to work and mentor with certain people there. So I feel like I just was surrounded by and drawn into this industry, whether it be personal training, sales, management, ownership. I've been doing it for over 35 years. And this is the first time that I've had this opportunity to come into a franchise as an owner. And although I've worked with big boutique fitness studios in my past, but as an owner now I have the ability to reach thousands, not just hundreds, right? And that's huge for me. That really makes a big difference because I want to change people's lives through fitness.
So talk through how you ended up with Mayweather Fitness, and why did you decide on that particular brand when there's a lot of fitness opportunities out there in the franchise space, and why did you decide to go the franchise route in general when you have many years of experience in the space? Why Mayweather Fitness instead of Kerry's Fitness?
Yeah, well, I mean, Mayweather, he's the most recognized name Seven
Sure.
out of 10 people, whether you like them or not, in the world know that name.
Sure.
So that's one piece of that. The other piece is I feel like there's actually kind of a funny story how I stumbled in with Mayweather Boxing and Fitness. Like I said, I had been with other boutiques before, and they've been wonderful brands. Boutique fitness is different than big box space. So even though I've been with big box gyms as well, boutique really they focus on catering and nurturing their members, and they want their members to show up.
Hmm.
It's not like, you get a gym membership at, big box gym down the road and they don't really want you to show up because they've got your
Sure.
membership. Doesn't
Yep.
matter. We really want results. Our business does better when people show up because then they get results and then there are testimonials for coming and they spread the word.
Sure.
The funny story, and I'll make it really brief, but the funny story behind Mayweather Boxing and Fitness is my husband and I, we had created a boxing fitness gym, mainly him. He created the programming for a studio that came out of New York City. And during COVID, we got furloughed and he started consulting for Mayweather. Mayweather, that was last year, he had a fight with Logan Paul in Miami, and I really wanted to
Hmm.
go to the fight. And I thought, well, my husband's a consultant. Of course, I can be his plus one. And he said, I'm sorry, you can't bring spouses. It's only for franchisees and the corporate team. And
Hmm.
I thought, well, how can I get one of these? And I
Sure.
found a business partner who was interested. We had been talking about other franchises in the past because I know the business model, it
Sure.
works. All right. So I talked to him and he's like, I will do this with the business with you. And I want to do four. And I want to be your only partner. And I was at the fight a week later.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, what was that experience like going to that fight? I've never been to a professional fight of anything.
Actually, I'd been to a fight in Madison Square Garden with
Oh wow.
Pachinko like a year prior, which was insane. So
Sure.
that fight was so much more authentic, and I don't mean to belittle what the experience of going to the Floyd Mayweather fight, but the Floyd Mayweather fight was in the Miami football, arena, the Raymond James. I believe is that correct? I think it is. And the one in Madison Square, they're both equally exciting and electric. And, it's an exhibition fight, which ironically, he will be doing another fight on May 14th in Dubai on a helicopter pad. So this is also very exciting to be a part of this brand. I really love what Floyd Mayweather stands for. It's hard work, dedication, community, and really he takes care of the people around him. It's about community. And boxing fitness is so impactful on mental health and not just the physical side effect of that, right? But to be able to come in, especially after, the pandemic and what we're dealing with depression and mental health issues, and not being around humans, to have a space where I can provide fitness, connection, community, and a feel good after you leave. I mean, why wouldn't you want to buy into a brand like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Carrie, you mentioned this is, the first time you've had, an opportunity to work as the owner specifically. You've probably done every other aspect of fitness that we could talk through. What has, over the past year or so that you've been doing this, what has been the thing that's been, kind of your surprising challenge, like something that you didn't realize was going to be so difficult, but it is, and so what is that challenge, and what are you doing to work through that?
I think a lot of people could say this right now. Staffing,
Sure.
finding the right people.
Hmm.
Again, I always touch back with we're in a really interesting time, right? Like people have been through a lot, and the side effects of what have happened over the past couple of years, it really, I think it's changed people, right?
Hmm.
So for me, I try to really lead with a very gentle heart and compassionate, I hire people not on their resume. They bring it. I'm like, I don't need to see it, right?
Sure.
I I need to see if they're happy, friendly, outgoing, kind, because I can't teach that.
Sure.
That's super organic, and if they don't have that, because of what we do, we try to impact these humans' lives, right? If they don't have that, that's a deal breaker for me. So having to really focus in on people and hire the right staff has been a bit of a challenge, but I feel like that's with every industry right now, every franchise right now, you
Sure.
know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you hit it though, Carrie. We certainly are seeing a shift in the workforce, and not only with people wanting to work and what that looks like, but also, we have an entire generation of people who are probably much better and pick up the hard skills and the actual work piece of things a lot faster than previous generations, but they're very weak on the soft skills, right? The people dynamic and communication and, just having empathy and things like that with potential customers is it's very hard to find. So I think that's a great approach.
Yeah, I feel like you have to mirror that, and you have to show them that.
Absolutely. What's the thing that surprised you that you're really good at as a business owner?
Um, I don't. I've done some personality tests lately that have really just been so spot on. As you can tell, I'm really excitable and outgoing and very much an optimist. So I think that when I came into that, my biggest reservation was, can I lead a team and not be always soft? Meaning, can I be a disciplinarian? Can I be strong when I need to? And do I feel strong, confident, like a boss? Uh, I'm a leader, and I do feel that now. So it is a surprise. Like, the way I lead may not be the way that everybody else leads. I lead my team every meeting. We meditate first. We have a connectivity, like where we just reset and then come together. I feel like we're like family. And a lot of times I think, and especially in corporate world, that can be seen as very soft and loose and, hokey. But I feel like we need to bring that to the table more and start being more empathetic to our team and not lead from in front. You have to lead from behind. And my job is to make sure that my team is happy and able to do their job. I support them. I work for them.
That's a great approach, Kerry. One of the best basketball coaches of all time, Phil Jackson. Um, he's written a number of books, but his one 11 Rings talks a lot about situational leadership and leading different people. And he was a big believer in meditating before every game and before every practice. And everyone called him a hippie back then, but I think a lot of people are realizing there's a lot of value to it now. So that's great. Absolutely.
Absolutely. One of my favorite books that I just got done reading was The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, who is a he's a billionaire. He had a medical software company, and he literally was a hippie, ironically from the same town that I'm born and raised in.
Okay.
And he still has a commune there, and he still is a billionaire. So,
That's pretty cool.
you can have all things. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. That's awesome. That's awesome. Kerry, what are your goals for the rest of 2022? You're a year plus into your business. We're one quarter down into, what's hoping to be the tail end of the pandemic. What are your goals for the next, 9 to 12 months for the business?
Well, to open location number 2, to start location number 3. I'd like to buy more franchises. I'd like to have more impact on people. Philanthropically, we're really doing a lot for our community as well. We work with groups of children who have autism and bring them into the studio. We work with a program that Mayweather Corporate has piloted called Gloves for Greatness, and it's working with children of socioeconomic areas that don't have the ability to have, inspiration, So we bring them into the studio. So I want to be able to reach more people that way. Because that's what this is about. Like in the beginning, fitness for me wasn't the $1 million maker, right? This is my exit strategy in a sense. Being a female in the fitness industry has been challenging, and it's not big money. I have always done this because I have a firm belief in what I'm doing, much like what social workers do. They don't make a ton of money. Teachers don't make a ton of money, but we're making huge impacts in the world, right? So I hope in the next 9 months, 12 months, that I can broaden that reach and make more of an impact in the world, and just lead with joy and kindness and still be a boss.
Absolutely. Those are great goals, Kerry. Switching gears here a little bit, I would, be neglectful if I didn't talk to you about fitness in itself. Obviously, you've been around the industry and you know a lot about it. As business owners and as franchise owners, we neglect that part of our lives a lot because we're busy running businesses and building teams and hiring people and doing all these things that you're doing now. Over the last year, what are the things that, if you could pick two or three things out where you've done really good at and said, hey, I'm going to make this a big part of my life still, what would be those things that you could share with the rest of us to kind of either get back into shape, to stay in shape, or to keep it a part of our lives as we get busy with, our businesses?
Number one thing that I've changed in my life, is meditation. It's happened over the past 2 years. Every morning I meditate, and it doesn't have to be a 30-minute meditation. Sometimes it's 10, but there's a moment where I sit and I try not to think. And we all have thoughts, but we are not our thoughts. I just really trying to find who that person is past the stuff that just constantly is in my head playing like a wheel. So I feel like meditation really can help you pause, whether that means pause before the refrigerator or pause before you decide not to drive to the gym, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing is pay yourself first. Richest Man of Babylon was a short little book that I read.
It's a great one.
It was really about, it's a great one, mm-hmm. But it's about paying yourself first, right? To get rich, you can't give all your money out to everybody else. You have to save a portion to yourself, correct?
Sure.
So that's how I feel about fitness. If you don't do it first, chances are, that doesn't mean everybody has to work out in the morning, but you have got to pay yourself every single day. And again, it doesn't have to look like the gym and pressing, 300-pound bench presses or it could be Zumba. It could be walking. I'm looking right now. I see this beautiful family walking outside my door. They're moving. They're getting outside. It doesn't have to look like what everybody else does, but you have to move and you have to get uncomfortable. You have to be okay with that. So whether it's 30 minutes or 60 minutes, find what you enjoy, or you get a little sweaty and get your heart rate up and get uncomfortable. You have to find it. It's there. You're going to find it. The other thing is really, it's such a simple thing, but eating outside the grocery aisles. So produce department, meat section, frozen foods, and everything in the middle aside from toilet paper and detergent, like really, you don't need it. Sure. Canned food, sometimes okay, but those are those little simple tricks. Listen to your body. Intuitive eating works. If you're full, why are you in the kitchen? You're bored. Stop. Move. Right? So those are the little things, but it's a commitment. And what's your why? I'm 50 this year, and I had a child. I have 2 older children. I have a 7-year-old. She actually just turned 8 on Saturday.
Awesome.
So I had a child at 42, right?
Yeah.
So my why just got a little different, a lot less aesthetic, right? A lot less like I'm just trying to keep up, more like I want to live a really long time.
Sure.
She deserves her mom to be there for her. So what's your why? So when you can figure out the why, not just like a temporary why, I'm getting married or I'm want to be in a good bathing suit, or I want to look good for this. There's got to be a deeper why. And when people can root into that and really like own it, then I feel like changes happen and they're forever changes.
Kerry, those are great talking points. I think I've taken 4 things away from that already. So I appreciate your feedback and your sharing the advice. Absolutely. Um, Last question for you here. So you mentioned it earlier, but one of the things I talk about a lot is diversity in franchising, and the thing I always say is that franchisees generally look just like me, except they're older, right? And so there's a lot of old white guys running around franchising, very few minorities and very few women in the franchise space. What's that experience been like for you? I'm not familiar with Mayweather Fitness, but are you seeing more diversity as far as franchisees go? So that's the first part of the question. And the second part is, if if you had a chance to talk to other women who were thinking about starting their own business, but are scared because there's not a lot of people doing it, what would be your advice and any tips there?
I am so happy you asked me that question. Um, I'm not going to lie. Being a woman who gets to bring a business that has the face of a Black man into my space is amazing. And I feel like my studio, if I took a picture of every member in there right now taking a workout, you would see men and women, Latin, African American, old, young. And to me, that is exactly what I manifested.
Sure.
I wanted that. That is the world. That's where we should. And when we bring in more diversity, especially in the fitness space, we are changing generationally. We are impacting generations, right? Where culturally, they're set in certain ways, right? They're eating and their fitness, but now we have an opportunity because of Mayweather, and what he stands for. This is the impact, and I get to now not just impact white women, right? Because that's who I tend to see in my past, in my classes. I wasn't seeing a lot of diversity, but now I get to do that. And so that brings me so much joy. It just is beautiful to see being able to cross space like that. As far as women, to me, I never hesitated. It just doesn't, I don't see it. I don't, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a woman. I'm smart enough. I'm strong enough. I have children. I can do a lot of things really well and multitask. And I can hear behind me and see 5 things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like I have superpowers that some people in this space don't have. Right?
Absolutely.
So why not? Why not a woman? Ironically, in Mayweather, we have 7 or 8 female multi-unit franchise owners.
Awesome.
They're bad to the bone.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm standing on top of a hill with these other women and just looking around going, we are doing it. So you have to have the confidence and, not be too bossy. I think sometimes women tend to overcompensate, like, we don't need to be a man.
Sure.
Just be who you are and just own it.
Kerry, that's great, and it's awesome to see your passion and your joy in what you're doing kind of come out in our conversation. And you're definitely better at this podcast thing than I am. So you mentioned earlier that you also do a podcast. Why don't you give a plug for that as well before we wrap up here?
Absolutely. So my husband also, he writes the workouts for Mayweather. So there's the other deep dive into that. So you got hired on after the consulting, but prior to that, we had a company called the Masters Fitness. And so we have the Masters Fitness podcast. Awesome. So we talk about all things fitness in the Masters division age group, which is 40 and up. So because it's a whole different class of, issues, we're not the young bucks anymore, but we still want to work hard. And so we had a couple seasons that we actually talked about what we just talked about. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'm also acknowledging the passion that I have for seeing and finding diversity in the fitness space, because it's very important, because we need them. We need cheerleaders from all aspects of diversity and socioeconomic groups. We need that.
Awesome. Kerry, that was great. Great job on that. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.